Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out. And I had lots of practice this weekend. I don't know about you. Actually, it was a really good weekend, but there's always time to practice piecing out because you get this news or that news or something happens and you don't know what to do and you need some wisdom. You got to talk to God a little bit. There's always practice for piecing out, right? Anyway, I do hope you had a good weekend, though. I did have a good weekend. It was a little bit busy one, but it was a good weekend too. Even though Christopher Bell got knocked out of the race that he was about to win yesterday because of a bad decision. Anyway, yeah, we like NASCAR around here. Chris does, and I just happened to start watching. So I found I will hope this week that we're going to talk about a bunch of my favorite creation scriptures, because I love the creation scriptures. There's always so much insight you can draw from it and things you can take from it, besides just the truth that God just created all this stuff from nothing. We just see the majesty of God, the providence of God, the power of God, the compassion of God, the creativity of God. Fill in the blank. There's just so much we can learn about God just by looking at the things He created and He made, right? If you have a favorite author, or like me, or a favorite artist, not like drawing artist, right? You get to know their paintings because there's a lot of common threads that go through it. You can say, that doesn't really look like something he painted, or that doesn't sound like something they would say, because you get to know them, right? So we could look at all the things God did and go, wow, He brought all of this together. And we're actually going to start in Genesis 1:1 this morning, because this weekend I found something, and it was something somebody else said, honestly, but I found something in Genesis 1:1 and 2 that I was like, that's powerful. And here at Peace Out, this is something that's going to help make it easier for us to peace out, right? So Genesis 1:1 starts with the account of God creating everything we see from nothing. It's hard for us to imagine that state of nothing, because we see everything, and that's what we've grown up seeing. All our lives we've seen all this stuff, but it wasn't always here. There wasn't any trees. There wasn't even an earth yet, right? But it says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. And we could camp there. We're not going to. We could camp there. And this is just Moses, I believe, wrote Genesis, and he's just saying, hey, in the beginning God made everything. It was just God, and this is what He did, right? But listen to this. It says in verse 2, it says, the earth was empty, a formless mass, cloaked in darkness. I like that, if you think about it. A formless mass. It didn't have form. There was no order. There was no life. It was chaos. It was literally a big ball of chaos, that was just in existence in the very beginning. Everything, this is probably right as God began to create. It would have been pretty ugly, right? Before He created what He did, as He began to pull all the elements together to just make something out of nothing, right? He created the elements to pull together to make something out of nothing. But it was chaotic. It was dark. It was formless. It was void. It was empty. All of these terms that we would typically think of as negative, but the next phrase is so important. The earth was empty. Have you ever felt empty? Have you ever felt chaotic inside, right? Cloaked in darkness, and the Spirit of God was hovering over its surface. Right there, in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of the emptiness, in the middle of the formless void, in the middle of the darkness, the being cloaked in darkness. There was really nothing much to see. God was probably the only one that could actually even see it, right? But right in the middle of it, God was there. And He began to speak. Let there be light. There's light. Let there be plants. He created the earth, the plants, the people. From this whole chapter, He's going to go create everything else. But here's what I want to say to you today. Even if you feel empty, void, chaotic, maybe life is just crazy right now and you're trying to find that place to trust God for peace, right? Or trust Him for guidance, or trust Him for provision, or trust Him for, you fill in the blank with whatever's in your life. But life can feel chaotic. It can feel overwhelming. We live in a hashtag overwhelmed world, right? Where it can feel chaotic. It can feel empty. It can feel like you can feel cloaked in darkness, even though you know God is somewhere there. Because right here it says God was hovering over that empty, voided space. That gives me hope to know that no matter what I feel like today, whatever I face today, God is there. He was present. He didn't say, "Oh, that's ugly. Let's just put that away. I don't want to look at that. I can't work with that. What am I supposed to do with this?" No, it says he hovered over it. He incubated it. And then he said, "Let there be light." Then he began to create from what seemed to be a void, an empty void cloaked in darkness with nothing there of substance. What seemed that way, what looked that way, what felt that way. Our emotions can feel that way sometimes. Okay, mine can. Maybe yours doesn't, but mine do sometimes. I just feel like this massive, right? You ever felt that way? And maybe you don't even have words for it. And maybe you don't even have expressions for it, and there's no way, how do I get rid of these emotions, but they don't feel good? And God doesn't look away. He doesn't say, "Oops, too chaotic for me. No, You know what he did? He took that empty, void, cloaked in darkness, and he made this earth. And he made life. And he brought order. And he not only just created life, he created a self-sustaining ecosystem that would continue to make the plants we see today, to make the animals, reproduce the animals that we see today, to reproduce us, people that we see today, came from that empty, chaotic void from Genesis 1. That's what God started with. And he could do the same thing in our lives. And you know what? He does the same thing in our lives day after day. He takes what we consider a chaotic, empty void that's dark and you can't even figure out what's going on. Every day he takes that and he brings peace into it. Every day he can take that and he brings life into it. And he breathes his life into it. That's what we find in Adam. The last thing he created was Adam. And he breathed into Adam that breath of life. And that breath is still sustaining us today. And that is amazing. That blows my mind that God took a chaotic void. That sounds like an oxymoron, but it was a chaotic void. We'll just take that for its face value for a second. I'll probably be thinking about that more today. And he just made something out of it. And he can take our lives, no matter how chaotic it feels, no matter how void of anything it feels, no matter how empty it feels, no matter how dark it seems, no matter how you fill in the blank. God can create life in the middle of that. He can bring hope in the middle of that because he did not distance himself from the empty void. He hovered over it. He embraced it. He breathed into it his life, and he made something beautiful that would last forever, literally, out of that. What we would have said was nothing. What we would have said is ugly. What we would have said is dark. He took it and made life, what we call life, the beauty of life, sustained by his breath, held up by his word throughout all eternity when we know Jesus is the word, but I won't go into that, right? So no matter how it looks today, know that God is hovering. Know that God is near. Know that his peace is just right there. And all you got to do is go, okay, God, I need some of your breath. I need some of your peace. I need to see you turn this empty void into something beautiful. And he will do it. He's been doing it throughout time, ever since Genesis 1:1, turning empty voids into life-filled, joyous, God-filled lives, right? Moments, minutes, hours, days, months, all of these things. He turns them all around for good. And he's still hovering over our hearts. He does not distance himself from chaos. Thank God. He'd have been gone a long time ago in my life because I can be kind of chaotic, right? My brain can be chaotic all on its own. It doesn't even need any help from any input from anywhere, right? But God's always right there, ready to breathe that life in. He will not distance himself from what you deem to be chaotic, dark, empty, or void. Instead, he will be there, and he is the life source. And that's why we can trust him, and that's why we can peace out. Peace out, you guys. Have a great day. I'll see you again tomorrow.